If you grew up watching this,
Well, the cast of Toughen Up is over here giving themselves a beer bath.
or this,
Acknowledge me. Acknowledge me.
you have probably daydreamed about being in the ring, but not just watching it, being it.
Sheldon landing on his feet. Oh my God in heaven!
But most of us never got there. Life happened, bodies gave out, knees cracked, or we were just too damn awkward in gym class.
Music! It is academic! We have to kick his head off!
What if I told you there was still a way to be the character, cut the promo, write the story? What if I told you you could still be a wrestler?
This is not WWE.
This is not AEW.
This is Second Life Wrestling.
I just wanted to feel that thrill again. I've never felt so alive before. Something about that got my adrenaline rushing.
This isn't what you think. You hear Second Life and probably think shopping, sex, and avatars from 2009. Yeah, well, sometimes it is, but not here. Because here, people are doing something different. Something with structure, with commitment, with story. Not all the people behind Second Life Wrestling are just fans. Some of them have lived it, felt the pain, heard the bell, and then lost it.
I was in my late 20s when I got started. So here's what happened. As a kid growing up, I was interested in it because, like little kids, you're just really into the pageantry. Like, oh, wow, this is so cool. Throughout high school, I kind of mildly paid attention to it, but other things were drawing my attention. And when I got out of high school and into college, I had thought about wanting to do it, but where I grew up, there wasn't anybody around to learn it from. And I came in the industry in the tail end, in that period where you kind of had to know somebody who would kind of bring you in. There wasn't like major schools that you could just go to. So in my late 20s, at that time, I was working at Barnes & Noble. And they had put me in charge of the music and movie section. It was that thing where we're going to give you the responsibilities of a manager, but we're not going to give you the money of a manager. One of those things. And when I was running it, somebody had come in at one point, and I'm telling this story because this story leads to a story that leads to how I got into all this. So I was looking up a movie for a guy who was looking for something about Jesus. I don't remember what the hell he was looking for. But while I was scrolling through searches, I came across a name of a movie. It's a Canadian film. I think it's a little art house independent film called Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter. If you can find it, get it. It's totally awesome. During the film of Jesus fighting vampires that can walk during the day, he is aided by El Santo, who is, if you know anything about wrestling, El Santo is a small, slight, Mexican gentleman. The guy they had playing El Santo was a big fat Canadian just wearing an El Santo mask. But the reason why I bring this up is there's a line in the movie when he's getting off the plane and they go, El Santo, why have you come? And he's explaining why he's there. Then he says this line, remember, I am El Santo. If you're going to take my picture, best to get my good side or else you'll get on my bad side. And I love that line, so I just hung on to it in the back of my head. Fast forward a couple of months. It's New Year's Eve. Now, my brother from another mother and I enjoyed every New Year's, Eve, we would go out in search of adventure. Because if you're going to die, best to die in the midst of adventure rather than just sitting on your ass, decaying. And what better place to seek adventure than downtown Los Angeles at New Year's Eve? So we're walking around the streets of, Los Angeles waiting for friends, and we stopped in at Olivera Street. And Olivera Street is the old, original part of LA before the city grew around it. And there's this little hole-in-the-wall Mexican restaurant. I think it's still there. Now, if you're sitting in the little outside patio, you can look across the street, across this intersection, to Union Station. And that's where we're waiting for our friends. So we're just there early having lunch. Now, my brother Chief and I, we look strange. We're big, burly dudes. We're wearing military fatigues, and we've got patches from the movie 2010. It's the joint Soviet-U.S. space mission, right? And so we look fucking weird. It's the only way I can describe us. And there was this elderly couple at another table, and they kept staring at us. Like I said, we're big, burly guys in military fatigues. Chief has this kind of Castro beard. We look weird. That's the only thing I can describe it. And eventually, I'm thinking, oh no, this lady's going to ask. And sure enough, the lady leans over and says, I don't mean to bother you two, but are you two in the military? And I was trying to think of what the hell can I possibly tell this woman that she's going to believe. No, we're just fucking weird. But nice one. We're professional wrestlers. And Chief just gave me this look of you're on your own, dude. And so she went, really? I went, yeah. We're the Petrovich brothers, Yuri and Petrov. We're gonna go to San Francisco for a tournament. That's so amazing. And then okay. So I tell that story about what happened. Oh, that's right. When they were leaving, she said, "Oh, good luck at your thing." I went, oh yeah, thank you. Remember, we are the Petrov brothers, Yuri and Petrovich. If you're going to take our picture, best to get good side, or else you'll get on our bad sides. Yeah. Ha ha ha. Funny. 6 days later, I'm telling that story to some friends at this local hangout that we would go to, which was a Dunkin' Donuts. I think it was a Dunkin'. It was one of them. Some little coffee house, right? Donut coffee house that you could hang out 24 hours. Yeah. And I'm telling this story, and everybody's getting a chuckle. And there's this kid in the group who I've never seen before. And about 5 minutes later, he walks up and he goes, "That was a funny story." I said, "Thank you." He said, "Have you ever thought about getting into wrestling?" I said, "Yeah, I thought about it, but man, I don't know anybody. I don't know how to get started." He said, "Tell you what, next week, I'm going to go meet up with Andre again. Why don't you come with me?" That's how I met Ostentatious, who then introduced me to Andre Verdun, the guy who trained me with Carnage, Eddie Gonzalez. That's how I got, stupidly back-assward stumbled into the business. When I say that I got into the business in the dumbest way possible, I get to find a dumber way. I was way too old to be getting into the business at that time. But I had realizations. I came in very much expecting that I'm not going to be a massive dude. I'm not going to be a superstar. I'm not going to get to television. Just getting trained was the goal. And then when I got trained, all right, get into a match. Got into a match. Get into another match. Get into a match where I win. Get into a match where it's this. And so my goals were very small and realistic. And I'm very happy for that.
Derek didn't leave wrestling because he failed. He got in late, worked the indie circuit, took the hits, and when the cost outweighed the payoff, he stepped back. Not bitter, just realistic. Trading in the bumps for a mic and the bruises for a broadcast booth.
And then eventually, I just decided, in my 40s, I don't want to keep taking bumps. Not for $70 and a pizza slice. I transitioned eventually to doing color commentary.
The crowd, the lights, the high of performing, it was all gone. Until one day, bored and half curious, he typed 2 words. Pro wrestling.
Yeah, I think for a lot of people, you just stumble on it.
Yeah.
And I had been doing stuff in Second Life for a while, but never really got interested. And I don't know, I'd probably been doing the wrestling for 5 or 6 years at that point.
In Second Life or in real life?
No, real life.
Real life, yeah.
And then I was just bored one day in Second Life, and I thought, I wonder if there's wrestling in Second Life. So I just typed in pro wrestling, and I came across a couple of names, and some of them were pose ball because I'd seen those. I was like, that doesn't interest me. But I came across a couple. It was one that was. They changed their name eventually to VWE. I don't remember what they were called before then. But I watched one of their shows, and I realized it's not pose ball. This is more like what the business is. They're obviously doing something. I assumed at the time it was the HUD, and I learned later that that's actually what it is. It's a specific HUD we use that causes animations to activate and do stuff.
Yeah.
But more importantly, they were doing a worked story. So I realized, okay, it's the business just here in digital form. Then I caught a show at a place called DCWF, and that confirmed for me that, yes, there was a wrestling style gimmick going on in Second Life. So I thought I'd get interested and apply. VWE never, I was told that VW wasn't looking for people, and DCWF never got back to me. So eventually I just picked up the HUD, learned to use it myself, and then got some friends together, and we started to figure out how to run a show, and then we eventually just opened up a company called OEW.
Eric, dastardly Garrett, I don't know. I am gone from disappointed to being disgusted. Do you hear me? Disgusted. Yes, you give me. No. I will.
Most people think it's a joke. They hear Second Life and picture outdated graphics, clumsy avatars, and a game that should have died a decade ago. But that's not what this is. Not here. Because this isn't a story about a platform. It's a story about people who lost something. A dream. A voice. A version of themselves. And somehow, in this strange, often misunderstood world, they found it again. Some of them grew up watching wrestling with their dads. Some never had the chance to chase it in real life. And some never stopped dreaming, no matter how far-fetched it seemed. Like TLC, the thrill-seeking medic with a mic, a gimmick, and a heart that bleeds wrestling.
Standing at 6 foot 3 inches and
I grew up being a fan of wrestling. I was back in the day loving WWF, and my favorite wrestler was Bret the Hitman Hart. And I knew all of those, I was a fan of all of those guys. Macho Man, Randy Savage, Ultimate Warrior, Big Boss Man, 1-2-3 Kid, I mean, you name it. I was all about that. And it's like any kid back in the day, I used to pretend I was a wrestler, and I'd fight my cousin and my friends and all that stuff, thinking I'm the real deal. I was nothing but a little punk back then, though. But yeah, so it was just a childhood dream of mine. I don't have any real life background as a wrestler, but I've always been a fan. Actually, to be honest, I did kind of drop off watching wrestling for a while, but then I started picking it up again in recent years, and then I heard about that such a thing existed in Second Life, and I thought, whoa, this could be a chance for me to live out my dream here, so. That's when I decided to join Premier Wrestling. When I first joined Premier Wrestling, I had to submit myself, like, what my gimmick was. So for those who don't know, my wrestler name is TLC, and my gimmick is the thrill-seeking medic. So I'm a medic, I'm a doctor. And that's why my clothing is basically all white, just kind of carry on that doctor look. But yeah, when I first created my look, they gave me the liberty to come up with something. I had no idea what I was going to do at first, but all I know was I wanted to look like Bret Hart because he was basically my idol for wrestling. So that's why you see I got like the shades and all that, the leather jacket. But I wanted to be the Second Life version of Bret Hart, and then also merge that with my gimmick. So I put it together, and at first it wasn't all white. It was a couple different colors, and so I submitted it to them. I showed them what I look like, and they had some feedback on it, and I took their feedback, and I got the look that I have today. As for like the other details, what makes me who I am, how did I come up with the whole thrill seeking thing, the adrenaline rusher, the way I speak when I say your boy's doing this for the fun, for the thrill, and all that stuff. I think that just kind of, happened naturally. The more that you start, the more that you do this, the more you become creative and think about ways to, make your character stand out.
TLC is not pretending. He puts in hours every week to plan matches and perform in front of a live audience. He's written his own story, shaped his character, and helped other people learn how to do the same. What he does takes work, coordination, skill, and discipline, not just in the ring, but behind the scenes. This isn't about wishful thinking. It's about showing up, being consistent, and building something real in a virtual space. If you've never logged into Second Life, you're not expected to understand it, but dismissing it outright means missing the point. People like TLC are using it to do something they care about, something they're proud of.
I don't know. I don't know why I was so swamped. I mean, Sabrina's already left. Oh, wow.
Curiosity. Back then, in Italy, it was trending. So I was like, oh, I may give a shot to this because, I like to play video games. And that was the, let's say, the curiosity back then. So I was like, well, I can try. But the thing is, when I joined, I didn't speak English at all. So everything was in English for me, and I try my best to understand what was going on in this virtual world. But as you can hear, and everybody's gonna hear, I can speak English now. So let's say 70% is thanks to Second Life that today I can speak English. In the past, I was like invested in the idea to try it, but sadly in Italy it's not trending so much.
Yeah.
It's a long, faraway dream. So I like to watch it since I was a little kid, because they were showing it on TV, and then it's like, first love. It's been always there for more than 20 years now. I didn't know anything about Second Life back then. It was just first impression when I joined. I was like, okay, it's a virtual world. I like to say it's like The Sims, but you are the sim itself, and you just do whatever you want to do, and that's how it went, basically. I found SL Wrestling randomly, because, since I'm a wrestling fan, I was like, okay, let's see if there is wrestling in Second Life. So all I did was typing wrestling into the search tab, and all I could find back then was a replica of a WWE arena, and it had nothing, just the building,
Yeah.
And then I kept going there until I found other people that had the same interest. And then, the chitty chat, talk today, talk tomorrow, the word kept spreading around. And I met one day the creator of SL Wrestling, and it's helping Chris. Now, I don't know where he is today. I hope he's doing great, by the way. But thanks to him, those days, he created something that we can still enjoy today. So, I never got a chance to say this, but thank you, Alpin, wherever you are. If you're watching, I don't know, but thank you. And this goes, of course, even from other people, because I know they're very grateful. But what we can do today, a lot of people that we can meet and have fun together with. So that's all I can say. In the beginning, it was tough because of the time zone. The timing, it's a key point, because if you live in a specific part of the world, like in Italy, for example, back then the main focus of the shows was around 2, 3 a.m. my time, so it was a little bit complicated. And I tried my best, but then other federations were coming in with a different timing, and I could find a better time slot for myself. So that's how it went and kept going until basically today. But you grow up, you can stay up late night. But yeah, back then it was a little bit tough. So, but I made it anyway. And I'm glad for it. This part of my career that I have in PW started after the COVID, so we had to stay home, and I was like, I can give another try because I had a break before this. But the passion that I see, it's different than the one we had, let's say, 10 years ago. So it's a different game style nowadays. So for me, it's like, okay, this is something that I can work with every day. And then I became a trainer, and I can say that I'm lucky and I'm happy that I can teach this to somebody that has the same passion that we have, that wants to do this because many reasons. So for me, it's a daily life situation, and I like to do it every single day. I try to do something new, and thankfully so far I can do that. So far I don't know if I'm gonna stop it, but I just enjoy every single day that I can do this. That's all.
We've talked about the wrestlers, but what's a wrestling match without commentary? Actually, I'd argue it's one of the most crucial parts of the whole thing. It's what turns a bunch of moves into a story. And Premier has some of the best voices out there. People who are genuinely into it, who hype the action, who live and breathe every moment like it's their own. They're not phoning it in, they're showing up with passion. Every single match. And that's the beauty of Second Life. Maybe you've never stepped in the ring. Maybe you don't even know what a finisher is. But if you've ever wanted to try commentary, Premier Wrestling makes space for you. They'll teach you, guide you, and help you find your voice, literally.
But rounding out our Hot Mess Express on commentary, he's the new this season, but already part of the fam. Give it up for the man, the myth, the mic-taming mayhem maker, Wyatt Parker! How you doing?
I am doing great. I like that intro this time. On Premiere, I am the commentator for Premiere Wrestling's Overload show on Thursdays. I work alongside Fire Ember and DJ Quick. I'm also with All Victory Wrestling, which is under the Premier umbrella. So I stumbled across Premier with one of my close friends. I heard her mentioning it before, like talking to me about it in the past, but I just never realized, like, okay. But I think I didn't really snap to what she was actually doing. And it was just this past season, it was the episode before the finale on Attitude, and she's like, you gotta come see me, I had nothing to do. It's like, okay, all right. I bought the ticket, and what captured my attention the most was the creativity, the effort that was put in to make sure that the shows looked like real life. That's what captured my attention. The effort that the wrestlers put in to make the shows happen, make them pop. The commentating, it was just all the collaborative effort, the team effort, put in to make the show what it is, and that I was just hooked. I was like, I'm gonna start coming here. And then she's like, well, you're a DJ, you gotta, you should join. I don't see myself being a wrestler. So she's like, apply to be a commentator. It's like, I don't even think I could do that, but okay, and here I am.
Wait, I have to ask, real quick, I have to ask. Everybody in here, if you think you're confident, Rebel's gonna win, let's make some noise. Come on. I'm ready for that one.
Well, now buckle up, because it's the finale. It's a freaking party.
One of the funny stories is my dad is a big fan of wrestling in real life, and he's not able to really play Second Life, but I've sent him YouTube links to the episodes, so he watches them on YouTube. It is a great opportunity, and that's one of the beauties of Second Life. If you don't feel comfortable doing it in real life, or you have a reason, then this is a great way to do that, just for just about anybody, no matter your background, really. And one of the biggest things is teamwork, because oh God, I can't express how important that is, with all the different amounts of people that it takes to put these shows together. We are one big team, and that is probably the most important skill you can learn or even tap into when working in this industry. And that's the beauty of Premiere, is the patience that everyone has and the willingness to teach. So as long as you're willing to learn, the possibility of skills is endless. It's that you can improve upon or even learn and grasp in Premiere. And and I don't know if anybody's gonna be watching this that is actually interested in joining. I'm gonna share a personal experience. And I'm almost ashamed to admit this, but there was but when you're joining something you've never been part of, those butterflies can really scream at you inside. And I almost backed out multiple times, like, okay, this is just too much. I don't want to embarrass myself. I don't want to embarrass the friends that I already made. I don't want to let, the industry down. But when I say no one will let you fail, I cannot emphasize that enough. I had multiple people in my voice channel in Discord, from Nene to X to we know him as Danny, but Vigilante Thunder. Just nobody is going to let you fail. And when I remember that day that everybody was in there trying to calm me down when I was literally panicking, you have a sense of belonging. It's like, you applied and you're already part of the team. And that was an experience right there that actually kept me going. A lot of people join Second Life because it's just a game. But then you have those that have social anxiety or whatever, or they have some form of disability to where they can't really go out and make friends outside of Second Life. So Second Life to them is a way to do that. But it's so easy to forget, that every avatar you see represents a real human being, carrying a unique story of hope, struggle, and the desire for, genuine connection. And that's what Premiere is perfect for that. And along with other things here, because I legit did experience that with Premiere, because you have everybody uplifting one another, cheering each other on, and believing in you. And you can get that in Premiere, in wrestling, or anywhere else in Second Life. It's a great way to make those connections if you're unable to do that in real.
Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, from Innsmouth, Massachusetts, coming in at 5'8" and 180 pounds. Give it up for Vena the Kraken.
One of the things that was told to me, and as now a talent acquisition manager, I always tell them, they will not let you fail. So I was trained, and before, because like I said, I don't know anything about wrestling really in real life, the moves and everything, but this is an important thing to know when you're doing it. So learning as much moves as I can, and working with some of the talent there, and working alongside of them, everybody's always willing to answer any questions. Nobody will turn you away, and it's like one big family. And that's what has helped me get comfortable on the desk, working with Nene, working with Fire, DJ Quick, Sabrina, just to name a few. Like I said, they don't want you to fail, because if you fail, then the whole show fails. Nobody wants that.
Wait, is he coming out to tell me that I get a raise? Oh, yeah.
It's Aftermath, the owner of Premier Wrestling.
What can we do to really put and not just wrestling, of course, but sports in general? There's a lot of sports out there, or at least at one point there was, but there's no one really driving. There's no one really pushing sports. There's no one really pushing that whole animation type of, hey, I can do a flip, or I can punch somebody in the face, or I can do a drop kick, or even there's boxing out there too, which I was like, guys, you guys gotta come on over, do stuff so we can introduce. We have to show the world outside of SL what you can do, because I came in from IMVU, and I had whatever, I don't know how old I am right now, but this was years ago, and I thought SL was the same way, because there's really nothing that shows besides dancing, which IMVU had a whole lot of dancing stuff. You get on the pose ball and it just does your whole thing. So SL just doesn't show. They show communities, right? Now they do, but back then it was just you're just standing there dancing. So you gotta show stuff. There's basketball, there's soccer, there's wrestling, there's boxing, there's all types of stuff. I think people would love to come in if they knew they could do those sorts of things, especially people who have medical issues and things, and maybe they just want to punch somebody in the face or something. Oh, I'm a fan. I'm a diehard fan. I love me some wrestling. And in here, I get to do basically whatever I want to as a performer, because it's just, when you look at on TV, you're like, crap, I wish I could do that. But I probably could. I'm in shape in the real world, but I've never said, hey, I want, took the time out to go do it in the real world. Just time and stuff like that, whatever. But growing up, in the neighborhood, we were getting on a little trampoline. I'm not sure if you know, a little trampoline, a little bounce thing in the backyard.
Yep.
Have friends, family, everybody coming over, and kind of just wrestle and act like we're the Undertaker or Kane or The Rock or whatever the case may be, and we're there just doing our thing. That was probably the closest thing I've ever gotten, to actually doing it. But I tell you one thing, when I found out it was in SL, and I will say this too, in IMVU, I actually tried to start an organization in IMVU, but it was just so limited. It was so, all you could do is punch or do like back then, I don't know if they do it now, but you can scoop slam, you can pick them up and throw them down, that sort of thing. But it was cool, but SL, I encourage, if you've never seen it before, to actually Of course, we got road shows and stuff like that, but you can go on our YouTube channel and you could just see the animations. It's like when they were talking about Meta years ago, the whole COVID, everything was coming out. We're going to create a virtual world, and I know SL is so far ahead. I mean, you look at those animations and how you can actually interact with another avatar. It's absolutely amazing. You got to go out there and you got to let them know that you're wanting to, hey, you want to fight them. And people go out there and they're pretty good at it. They know how to talk really, really well. And that's another element to it. It's just there's so many talented people in Second Life in general. There's so many. I think SL is so underrated. It blows my mind. It really does. You got singers, you got, people like yourself, creating amazing content and stuff. It's just, again, come up with this meta and all this other stuff. But hey, you got SL right here, and you got a lot of things that you can do in this world right here, in this virtual world. SL is a world of just unlimited creativeness, and sometimes unlimitedness and freedom has a price. And I think SL at one time got a little too free. It definitely says that we're a little bit more official, right? Where it gives people like, oh, okay, that whole wrestling thing. Okay, wait a minute. They're doing some stuff with Lynn Labs. Okay, I'll give them a shot. Whereas before, it would have been like, oh, yeah, you got wrestling, but I don't know if they're, here to stay or whatnot, in which we are. So I think it helps. I really, really, really do. The launch has been great. It was really, really amazing. We're marching towards our actual first season being at the Sim and doing shows there on a regular basis. I'm pretty excited about that. Just to let everybody know, hey, we're here, and we're here to have some fun, but not just wrestling on the map, but sports in general, because sports has a lot to offer, and we hope SL continues to give us a chance to do it. I would like to do some boxing events there, and any sort of events that we can just, it may not be necessarily an organization, or perhaps it is. We haven't really got that far yet, but I would love to have a boxing event there. I know there's like basketball HUDs and things like that where you can do a little basketball, and we have sort of events that go on, maybe a festival or something. But it's definitely, we want it to be a gateway, right? We are wrestling, and we love wrestling. We're premier wrestling. But with the sort of platform we've been given, the sim we've been given, we want to use that and make sure we can let these other places that are currently here. I think Fatality is out there doing their thing, their boxing and MMA stuff that they got going on with their HUDs and stuff like that. We want them to be able to have a area where, hey, we're here, and it may not be every week, but it's like boom, or any other sort of sports oriented organizations and things like that. So yeah, absolutely. My goal is once we get stable and we get everything in order, and I'm not running around with my head chopped off, and the other team members, is now that we have sort of a gateway, we want to be able to pull other people in, right? That we feel like, hey, would be beneficial to have something like this, because not only have we gotten the gateway, which I'm very appreciative for, but it all started too with, we started doing the Second Life birthdays, right? Which they have been very, very nice to us when it comes down to that each year. And then we had the Second Life hub, the Welcome Hub, which was a big thing too. And then over time, they finally was like, hey, okay, we'll give you that. We'll give you a chance, right? But it took a while. It took a while because we've been working on this for a while. We have to create a culture, especially around the wrestling, that
Yep.
this is what wrestling is about. Not the old, sex and mud and all this other stuff. All this. Hey, if that's your stuff, go for it. We're here to entertain the people. We want to have
Yeah.
fun. We want to bring people into Second Life. That's our goal, and so we got to keep it. We gotta, it's when someone gives something to you, it's never really free, right? They're always expecting something, and our goal is to continue to, one, like I said, entertain, bring people in over time, and hopefully. One of the things we talked about as well is doing a some sort of joint venture with SL if they ever came to if we ever could go to them or to their offices. I know they have an office here or about to have an office in Atlanta, and I would said, hey, I would come up there, do a whole presentation if I needed to or whatever. So it's cool, It's a journey. It's definitely going to be a journey, and definitely not a sprint. It's going to be a marathon. Cool. I work at the fire department in the real world. I wasn't going to say anything, but I said, shoot, I might as well.
Yep.
I work at the fire department, so it does, it can and it does consume you because there are a lot of moving parts. People think we just wrestle and do shows. Well, we do charity events. Like I said, we send the champions out to different areas of Second Life and things like that. And there are a whole lot of other things that we, as far as projects go, that we're doing and currently working on, that keeps us busy. And then, of course, let's face it, you're not going to have, the organization is not going to be big, and you're not going to have inside issues. You're going to have personnel issues, people going at it with you. So you got to deal with that too. You got to keep the roster a certain way. You can't dip below a certain range. You got to, the budget and everything. So there's a lot of different, things that go on a daily basis that I'm glad that I have a team that we're able to handle the issues that come up or the good things that come up. And coverage for the stuff that comes up. You gotta give it a shot. Yeah, if you're watching this or listening, whatever the case may be, you gotta give it a shot. Gotta give it a shot. Or just see the most important role, though. I'm gonna tell you the most important role in wrestling or sporting events or anything really is the fan. And some people don't want to get into the action. They just like to go in and cheer and boo and give that person a hard time or buy merchandise and toys and just to be a part of that community or saying, hey, it's something on the list that like late at night and you're with your family in SL or whatever, and you're like, hey, y'all want to go watch this wrestling show or whatever, or y'all want to go out and do a night out? Guess what? That's when we come into play. So the role of being a fan, there's nothing wrong with that. So if you don't want to wrestle or commentate, if you don't want to referee, if you don't want to be a part of the management team and yada yada yada, you don't want to be none of that, you just want to be a fan, we're okay with that. I love wrestling because wrestling gives you everything. It's like a movie. You're watching a movie play out. It's in the ring. It's in the ring and it ends with a fight. And that's how you got to look at it. It's just like when you go to the movie theater and you watch a play or a movie or whatever the case may be, it's literally in some respects the same thing. Some people can get a little carried away and things happen, but that's the awesome, entertaining part about it. So it's got something in wrestling for everybody. So just gotta give it a shot. Wrestling is like magic. I would give it a chance. I would definitely give it a chance. And especially if you're already in SL. If you're not in SL, come on in, give it a shot. Give it a shot. And, that's it. And also make sure you like and subscribe and to this channel or whatever it's going to be posted on. Share it all over the place. We have to help our creators and the people who are trying to put Second Life out there. It has its issues, right? It does. But we're all in it to try to make it better. And sometimes accountability is a good thing. You know, someone has to hold somebody accountable. I get held accountable all the time. I think that's a good thing. But again, thank you so much, and that's it.
You see, when I was referring to the Derek Zane character being a Hollywood douchebag, it's because growing up in the shadow of Los Angeles and Hollywood, you can't help but notice certain jackasses just bending constantly upward. So the persona of Derek Zane is an overpronunciation of the vowel sounds. So it sounds like, one, I'm talking louder than I actually am, and two, because it forces me to slow down my cadence, it sounds like I'm talking down to you. I come from that last generation of people that were very guarded about how it all worked. The internet has kind of killed the ability to kind of keep the trade secret, so to speak. And those trade secrets existed to preserve the ability of everybody to make money, which is why you would hear stories about if somebody challenged the legitimacy of wrestling, wrestlers would do things like pull out people's eyes, stuff like that, which is brutal, but it's understandable when you think about how if people don't believe in the legitimacy of something, they don't have a reason to come see it. That was the thinking back in the day. Well, we now know that people are still going to come see it because of the spectacle, because of the pageantry and the storyline. They don't have to necessarily believe that everything is real. So people are always looking for a way to kind of be a part of that, even if they don't necessarily know how. And not everybody physically can. We have a lot of people in the SL wrestling community who would never be able to physically do this for varying reasons. Handicap issues, sociological issues, many reasons. But here they can. And I've seen some incredible performers do what they do in the digital side of things. Now, we've seen people are really more accepting of professional wrestling as the pageantry, as the thing. I mean, look at the 2K games, the 2K 2000, the WWE 2000 whatever games. It's a huge market, multi-million dollars. People are interested in this sort of thing. This is a chance for people to, if they come here, live out a fantasy. To a degree. Like, some things we're not going to do. We're not going to let you, come into a ring and cut off somebody's head. That's just silly.
Yeah.
And if you little popcorn fart nose picks would understand your place in the world, you would understand that to be in the mere presence of greatness like Derek Zane is to be standing under the shining light of all that is.
So I want to give a shout out to my wife Nikki and my two daughters, Emily and Brooke. And of course, I want to give a shout out to everyone at Premier Wrestling. Love you guys, you are the fam. It's your boy TLC, the thrill seeker, the medic with a credit. You know who he is. Two-time former hardcore champion, two-time undisputed champion of Attitude, and I'm coming at you right here, right now, letting you know you gotta check in on this video, this podcast. It's your boy, you know who it is. I wanna see y'all in the ring, show me support, let you know, holla at your boy, yeah.
You don't have to understand wrestling. You don't even have to like it. But if you've watched this far, you've seen what's possible when people care enough to build something that works. Premier Wrestling isn't a simulation. It's not a workaround for real life. It's real in the ways that matter. Effort, time, creativity, connection. And whether you're in the ring, behind the mic, or just in the crowd, you're part of it. This is Second Life at its best. Not perfect, not polished, but full of people who show up every week to make something worth watching. That's it. No pitch, no moral of the story. Just respect where it's due.